Maryland Congressman Elijah Cummings has passed away this morning at the age of 68. According to WBAL-TV, which is citing his office, Cummings, who was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, where he still lived up to his death, represented Maryland's 7th congressional district since 1996. The son of former sharecroppers, he began his life of public service in Maryland's House of Delegates, where he served for 14 years, becoming the state's first African-American Speaker pro tem. Cummings served as the chairman of the House Oversight and Reform Committee. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. I want to bring in Mike Barnacle into the conversation here. This is stunning news this morning, to say the least. The loss of someone who is such a leader on the Hill, especially over the last couple of years, as we have seen the chair of the House Oversight Committee, the things that he has said in leading this government forward in spite of so much turmoil and division that we're seeing in Washington right now.
Yeah, Elijah Cummings is a tremendous loss. And politics would be the least loss. Just a loss in terms of a wonderful human being, a compassionate human being. A man who is not from Baltimore, as they say, Congressman Elijah Cummings from Baltimore. He is of Baltimore. He lived there his entire life, went to local public schools, University of Maryland, and fought every single day in the House of Representatives to improve a struggling city, his city, Baltimore, Maryland. It's just going to be a tremendous loss, obviously, to his family, to his city, and you're absolutely right, to the Congress of the United States. He played a vital role so far in the impeachment inquiry, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, a critical committee. In terms of the impeachment process going forward, a very sad day.
He has had some of the, in most recent months, some of the most including the first public testimony, I believe, of Michael Cohen, which was a turning point, if you will, for a lot of Americans in terms of how they view the current president. Let's talk a little bit about the void that will be left behind by Chairman Cummings on this issue, the impeachment inquiry. He was one of 3, as we mentioned, 3 chairmen who signed that letter subpoenaing some of the documents that were sought after by Congress. This is a big void.
A huge void, because when you look at his career and you look at how he behaved, both as minority chair and as ranking chair of that committee, what you saw was every day an effort at fairness. Despite the polarization in the House, you even saw it during the Benghazi hearings when Trey Gowdy was was his opposite on the Oversight Committee. Elijah Cummings struggled every day, fought every day to be fair in an onslaught of polarization and hyper-partisanship. And I think that'll be the biggest loss.
You remember that moment that you just mentioned earlier about his colleague Mark Meadows, where he actually sat there and said Mark Meadows is not racist, and he defended him. You know, he sort of stepped outside the box and defended him, someone that was his exact opposite across the aisle. But despite that, he reached across the aisle and made sure that everybody knew that Mark Meadows was not a racist.
Yeah, you know, and we play these clips each and every day of different members of the House of Representatives, and not so much the Senate, but especially in the House, where the hyper-partisanship is, it's a put-off. It turns people off, but not when you'd see Elijah Cummings. He always spoke in measured terms and tones about people on the opposite side of the aisle. Again, I get back to fairness, which is going to be something badly, badly missing.
I want to actually read a quote, because we keep talking about this fairness that Elijah Cummings had and the way in which he spoke, this inspiring way in which he spoke. And here's a quote from him that I think many of us remember. I think it was over just the last couple of months. He said, "We must also stop the hateful, incendiary comments. We got to do it. Those in the highest levels of the government must stop invoking fear, using racist language, and encouraging reprehensible behavior. It only creates more division among us and severely limits our ability to work together for the common good. As a country, we finally must say enough is enough, that we are done with the hateful rhetoric, that we are done with the mass shootings, that we are done with white supremacists, domestic terrorists who terrorizing in our country and fighting against everything America stands for." That is the type of thing that we heard from Elijah Cummings over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and we don't hear those things enough from enough people, but you always heard them each and every day. Again, I get back to each and every day from Elijah Cummings, despite the blizzard of polarization and partisanship that he was surrounded with. Every day you would get that sense, that spirit from Elijah Cummings.
He took his role as a leader of both. Half of Baltimore fell in his district. He took it personally, I guess, when the President of the United States attacked the city of Baltimore, came out and gave that fierce defense of the people in the city of Baltimore. What did his hometown, what did Baltimore mean to him?
Everything. Everything. It was his entire life. He spent his entire life there.
And that's rare in Washington, to be born in the same district that you represent for your entire career. Right?
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, more often than not, he went home at night from Washington. He went back to Baltimore, back to his home, not his district, his home. Yeah. And Baltimore, as everyone is aware, has had its struggles and has had its troubles. And Elijah Cummings was there each and every day fighting for Baltimore, not just in appropriations committees, trying to get money to improve and enhance Baltimore, improve its school system, improve its public transportation, monitor its police department, which has had terrific struggles. They've had a series of mayors. They've had a series of problems in Baltimore. Baltimore is one of the great cities in the United States of America that has fallen into disrepair, as some cities have. But Baltimore seems to have been forgotten in a sense along the way, but not by Elijah Cummings.
It seemed as if people in the community knew Elijah Cummings. I was hearing that it wasn't odd to see him grocery shopping at the local Giant store. People knew him by name.
Accessible.
Yeah, he was very accessible, as many people in Washington are not necessarily so.
Yeah, well, in Washington, but the Congress, especially the House of Representatives, they work Tuesday through Thursday. They go home and they have fundraisers. Elijah Cummings went home to talk to people, to see people, to live among the people that he lived with among his entire life.
When we talk about what this means in terms of the Democratic caucus, so many of the personal issues that he championed, the civil rights movement, he championed also Black Lives Matter. In fact, there was a quote where he said, "Our party does not just believe but understands that Black lives matter, but we also recognize that our community and our law enforcement work best when they work together." That in itself is revealing about what he tried to do, how he tried to position himself at these polarizing times in our country.
Yeah, and I think he received some small elements of criticism from the far left of his party, but again, I get back to his voice. His voice was always measured, always filled with fairness and objectivity. He had a view of life, he had a view of politics that I think enhanced both him and the process that he was part of, the political system. I wish we had more people like Elijah Cummings, more people like his voice, more people like his approach to politics.
Yeah, we certainly need it now more than ever.
Again, Congressman Elijah Cummings dying at the age of 68, as we are learning this morning. An incredible loss to Washington, an incredible loss to this country, and really an incredible loss across the world. We appreciate you joining us on this, Mike Barnicle. We're going to have much more coming up on Morning Joe on all this. We'll be right back, everybody.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.